From mob boss disappearances to lighthouses losing their crews to airplanes disappearing in thin air, these are the 15 most famous unexplained mysteries. Number 15, the Fland Islands Lighthouse Keepers. In December of 1900, three lighthouse keepers, James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, completely vanished from thin air in the Fland Isles Lighthouse, or that's what the story says. A relief vessel found the lighthouse deserted, doors locked, clock stopped, and a meal that was left uneaten. The only clue was a log entry that was describing a severe storm. However, records indicate the weather was calm, and despite investigations, not a single trace of these men were ever found. Multiple theories go from rogue waves to a fight they had in the lighthouse to supernatural involvement, but to this day, this is still a ongoing mystery. Number 14, Frederick Valantic. On October 21st of 1978, Australian pilot Frederick Valantic disappeared while flying over the Bay Strait. Before vanishing, he reported a unidentified aircraft hovering above him, stating, and quote, "It's not an aircraft." Despite extensive searches, neither Valantic nor his Cessna 182 were ever found. The incident has fueled UFO theories. However, some people suggest it's disorientation that pilots can feel in the air, mechanical failure, or even a self inflicted death in a way to cover it up. But to this day, it is still a very famous mystery. Number 13, the Sodder Children. On Christmas Eve of 1945, a fire destroyed the Sodder family home in West Virginia. 5 of the 10 children were never found, and no remains were ever recovered. The family suspected kidnapping, especially after they received a photo years later of a boy resembling one of their missing sons. Despite investigations and public interest, the fate of the Sodder children still remains a haunting mystery, and nothing has been came up with this as of now. It's still an open case. Number 12, the lost colony of Roanoke, one of the most famous disappearances in history. 1590, a supply ship from Roanoke Island to find the English colony deserted. The only clue was the word Croatoan carved to the post, or a tree. Multiple theories about the colonists' fate include assimilation with the local tribes to being killed by local tribes, or death to disease, starvation. To this day, no one has really proven what's going on, but we have a very good idea, and they most likely just went with the natives. But it's still a very famous disappearance. Number 11, Brandon Swanson. So in May of 2008, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson disappeared after his car veered off a road in rural Minnesota. He actually called his parents after he got into the accident, and his parents stayed on the phone with him, trying to guide him. He said that he was walking towards a light in the distance, and then he exclaimed, "Oh, that was the last word of him." Despite extensive searches, not a single trace of Branson's ever been found, and Brandon is believed to have been murdered or kidnapped, but there's nothing to him. Still an ongoing mystery, and it's actually quite sad. Number 10, Malaysian Airlines flight MH370, the most famous aviation incident of all time. March 8, 2014, Malaysian Airlines flight vanished. All 239 people on board the Boeing 777 gone. The plane deviated from its flight path and disappeared from radar. Despite extensive search efforts, only a few pieces of debris were found, and the disappearance remains one of aviation's greatest mysteries. Some theories claim to an onboard hijacking and landing, or the pilot just crashed the plane on purpose, but to this day, no one really knows. Number 9, the Springfield 3. In June of 1992, Cheryl Livett, her daughter Susie Streeter, and Susie's friend, Stacy McCall, vanished from their home in Springfield, Missouri. There were no signs of struggle, and all their personal belongings, such as makeup and money, jewelry, were all still left behind. Despite extensive investigations, no clues have actually surfaced, and the case still remains unsolved. There is countless internet rabbit holes and fantastic videos on this topic, and I highly recommend watching them if you do that. But going on to number 8, we have Ambrose Beers, a famous author and Civil War veteran who disappeared in Mexico in 1913. His fate still remains a mystery. He was last seen in Mexico, and he is believed to have died in the Mexican Revolution. But the mystery is that he potentially actually faked his death. His books kind of talk about how he sort of would die. So a lot of people think he faked his death, but to this day, no one knows. Number 7 is Lars Matenk. In July of 2014, German tourist Lars Matenk vanished after fleeing Varna Airport in Bulgaria. Prior to his disappearance, he exhibited paranoid behavior, claiming he was being followed, and despite being captured on CCTV running into a forest, not a single trace of him has ever been found. People think maybe people were after him, mobs, criminals. He was in some kind of affiliation. He was running from them, but no one knows. And to this day, he still hasn't been found. Number 6 is Dorothy Arnold. December 1910, a New York socialite, Dorothy Arnold, disappeared after shopping for a dress. Despite extensive searches and media coverage, no clues were ever found. Theories range from suicide to abduction, but the case still remains America's one of their oldest missing person mysteries, and it's still open to this day. Some people even think the mob is involved, but there's no proof of that either. Speaking of that, number 5 is Jimmy Hoffa. July 30th, 1975, labor union leader Jimmy Hoffa vanished from a Detroit suburb. He was last seen outside the Matches Red Fox restaurant, supposedly meeting with mob associates. Despite numerous investigations and theories, Hoffa's fate still remains unknown. Most people believed it was a mob deal gone bad, and his body could have been burned, dumped to a river, or even embedded in concrete, as some people believe. This is one of the more famous mob mysteries, and actually could be the greatest mob disappearance of all time. I highly recommend going into detail and reading about it on your own. Number 4, the Bumont Children. January 26, 1966, siblings Jane Arna and Grant Bumont disappeared from Glang Beach in Adeline, Australia. Witnesses reported last seeing them with a tall, fair-haired man, and despite extensive searches and investigations, not a single trace of these children were ever found. These children literally were just on the beach, and the next thing you know, they're gone for time. Many people believe they were kidnapped, abducted, and probably just murdered, but there's no proof to it. Nothing's been found. It's a very sad case. This one is actually quite famous in Australia, and a lot of changes to people watching their kids and police investigations have came as a result of these children being lost. Number 3, Amelia Earhart, the most famous aviator disappearance in American history. Amelia Earhart disappeared to the Pacific Ocean during an attempt to circumnavigate the globe. Her last known positions were around Holland Island, but despite extensive search efforts, neither the aircraft nor her remains have been found. Multiple theories of her crashing the ocean and dying, crashing the ocean getting captured by the Japanese, crashing the ocean going onto the island and eaten by coconut crabs have all arisen, but we'll never truly know. Number 2, speaking of aviation disappearances, D.B. Cooper, the man, the myth, the legend, is November 24th of 1971. A man using the alias D.B. Cooper hijacked a Northwest Orient Airlines flight and extorted $200,000 in ransom. After he got his money, he let the passengers go, went up into the air around the Pacific Northwest, and literally parachuted out of the airplane with the money. Despite the manhunt, despite the popularity and everything about it, he's never been found. It's one of the greatest disappearances and potentially the greatest heist of all time. Just a little bit of money was discovered around the area he believed to have dropped. Multiple people claim they are D.B. Cooper or claim they know him, and recently, as you may have heard in the news, people claim they were related to him. I cannot prove that is the real one because it's still not been proven yet, but there is potential that is the case. But as of now, the case is still unsolved and actually was recently closed by the FBI. Number 1, the MV Jorda disappearance. October 1955, the MV Jorda was found adrift in the South Pacific. All 25 passengers and crew were completely missing. The ship was in poor condition but was still afloat. The radio was tuned to distress frequency. Food and supply were still on the ship. But despite investigation, no trace of these people were ever found, and the incident still remains a maritime mystery and is known as the Ghost Ship of the Pacific. And that is it for this countdown. Have a good night, guys.